So I haven't done this in a while. Well, I basically just rant about something while I'm playing games. So that's literally just the objective today. And I had a few topics in mind of what I wanted to rant about. There's like some stuff that's been happening on COD, obviously. I don't know why I talk about anything else aside from stuff that's happening on COD. But like literally main first thing I want to talk about is just friend groups on Discord. I feel as if like stuff like those lead to some very contentious, contentious judgments. So for example, I had a little run in with I won't say who. I think you've already seen the debate. I uploaded it a few weeks ago. No, not even a few weeks ago. Literally a few days ago. And you know, most of the time, why is this on my screen? Anyway, but most of the time, whenever like stuff like that happens, whenever I debate someone like that, usually the reason as to why his friend group doesn't move me up is, oh well, it isn't something that he does, right? Or oh well, it's some issue with like they just judge he wins, right? But the issue is it seems that everyone else who watches these type of debates like think that I won. It's not even, I don't want to make it about me specifically, so I'll talk about like somebody else. For example, whenever we have like groups like Tokyo, groups like even Infinity's group, right? Infinity Surreal, them boys, right? If I use them as an example, most of the time people won't want to debate people within their friend group with other people from their friend group judging. I feel as if that there are multiple inherent biases that people in the com just have towards their friends, and even if it isn't some form of inherent bias, it's just like what's it called, they're just afraid to tell their friends that oh they think they're lost because they think there's some form of beef will start, right? I'm not saying that this is something that like Infinity Group specifically does. I don't know. I don't hang out with him enough to know, right? Most of his friends have been pretty cool to me, so I wouldn't be able to tell. But all I'm saying is, right, like just people need to just stop being afraid to tell their friends they lost, right? It's some of that stuff is just weird, bro. Like for example, you have someone who loses a debate. Their friend says, "Oh yeah, you actually lost to be fair, but don't worry, I think you'd win next time," something like that. And then they get into a full blown beef because there's like, "Oh, as my man's, why aren't you supporting me and saying that I won?" It's like, bro, you expect me to lie because I'm your friend or something? Well, not me, but you get what I mean. But stuff like that, I think that also just like it kind of makes debating less fun in general because then it goes from an actual test of skill to some form of political thing where you're just trying to appease your friends and then make yourself seem more appeasing. Also, I'm running through this game. What the hell? But aside from that, um, debating tier lists, like I have my own. It's quite controversial, but I've seen loads of people who used to debate, like Error Six and them, like well not specifically six, I think six is good, but like error for example, and it's like okay bro, error is cool. Alright, he seems like a chill guy whenever you aren't cutting him off, but I mean he's just not good, if you get what I mean. Like I've seen him debate six. I've seen him debate all of those people, right? It just seems like everyone else is significantly
This
better
is
than him, and
Escape
the only
Unspeakable.
okay. Anyway, you're in the video, and the only reason as to why he was able to remain at least relevant during those particular periods in the community is just because people valued rhetoric way too much. Like, it's not like rhetoric can make your argumentation seem better, right? But usually, most of the time, and I think even he himself has agreed to this, whenever he's speaking, he's usually just saying jargon. He isn't actually saying anything of substance. All he's just saying a regular run of the mill argument, but in an extremely assertive tone. And it's like, I watch it now and I'm like, how are people impressed by this? I didn't really find anything he does impressive. For example, his debate with Griff, I literally made a whole video explaining why I thought both of them sucked, right? But people just focus way too much on, oh, he sounds cooler, so he's probably won. It's like, dude, it's a guy on Discord and he's just talking loud. There's nothing really impressive there. I think Arrow's rhetoric is good, right? Like nobody can take that away from him. His rhetoric's like it's insanely good. Okay, wait, that's knees, bro. Anyway, his rhetoric is like really good. But aside from that, he just lacks any form of substance, if you get what I mean. Like, you listen to him speak, for example, his abortion argument, right? You listen to the argument. Sure, it sounds good when he says it. But if anyone else said the argument, right, you'd realize that, oh, these guys, most people would say, oh yeah, this guy's ass, right? And then, but if Era says it, they're like, what? This is a revolutionary argument, bro. Oh my gosh, we need to just stop. We need to write this down in the history books because this changed my life. Like, no, it's literally just I feel like people just have like some of inherent biases to people who they think rhetoric is good. Like, it kind of it kind of just like makes gauging skill in the community really really difficult, especially when you just have people who are glazed extremely and they know who I'm referencing, right? If they're watching the video they probably know I'm talking about them, right? But I'll give another example with Infinity, because who likes that guy anyway, right? Like, if most of the com, I say most in quotation marks, but most of the com thinks that he's extremely good, right? Aside from private servers that think he sucks and stuff, right? I don't know why this is lagging, but most of the com thinks he's good, right? And even though most of the com thinks he's good, right? I guarantee you, most of the com won't also be able to name 5 arguments he's made. It's like people in this community just glaze and they go off of other people's opinions too much, right? And the reason they do that is because they are afraid to like say something that they quote unquote shouldn't say, right? And then get in trouble with the high tiers. Like it's stuff like that that's really corny. Like, why are you afraid of another man on Discord? Like, sure he may make you look stupid and like be better at arguing than you, but does that really mean that you should become his literal son over an online app? Like it doesn't it never made sense to me, right? Like, but aside from that, I want to go down the list of a few people who I think are the most overrated people in the com, at least that I've heard, right? And it's gonna be a bit. People might get angry at me for this one, but it's like Jester first, and it's like he. I'm saying that way too much. He's just not good, right? I've seen people say that he's way worse than he is, and he's way better than he is, right? He's just not good. When I see people put him at tier 3, or no, when I see people put him at tier 2, it's like, dude, do you really think this guy, right, who was struggling with an argument that said Maki's soul splitting katana would be able to cut through infinity because it can cut through anything, right? Someone who is struggling against arguments like those and is having to get forced to grant them, right? They can't be considered a tier 2, I'm sorry, right? And it's like, people, when I say people, I mean his friends, right? They will ignore these recordings, right? Not watch them. I mean, sure, they have live external to Discord, right? But at the same time, is if you're going to watch all of the good stuff that he does and say, oh, he's really good, he's the best, oh, he's a tier 2, oh my god, he's so smart, he's so cool, right? He's the high king of evil, as his corny, ugly, stupid, dumb, uneducated friend, right, calls him, right? But if you're gonna say that about him, then why are you ignoring all of the bad stuff that comes out of his mouth, right? Why are you ignoring all of the ranting that he does, quote unquote, and ignoring it? But when someone else makes the exact same argument, you don't hold them to the same standard. I feel as if like if any of you have watched it, it was like uploaded on my channel. It was Odin versus Jester, where they were debating on MCU, and like Jester was just like, sure, Jester had loads of knowledge on it, but the person who was debating, Odin, was really nervous in that debate, and it was so obvious to tell that he was really nervous, right? He literally was hyping himself up before that, and it's like, okay, you're getting nervous over a man on Discord's arguments, for one, right? And two, it's not even like his arguments are that hard to understand. If you just used any cognitive ability, you'd be able to understand them. It doesn't really make sense to me. Like, there's that whole thing, and that's just in general weird, right? But aside from Jester, another overrated guy who's on my list, right, is wait, I need to think about this one. Right, I want to think. Okay, beautiful. Spencer, Jar Jar, Drake. No, let's not say Draco. Draco did something against Trenny. Spencer, Jar Jar, almost every Naruto debater back then, right? They all they all suck, right? No offense, but I'll give you a very very simple to understand statement, right? And I hope all of you will agree this is absurd. So Spencer, right, the absolute beautiful individual, let's say, said in a debate that he was having that, oh, we should not use dictionaries to determine the usages of a word because dictionaries do not capture how most people use a word, right? In almost every case, right? That was how he was using it, right? And that he also said that we should just not make any assumptions as to what someone means whenever they speak, right? Because blah 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 assumption is unfounded, this that, and the third, right? Some stupid stuff like that, right? Basically, what he's all if you put his argument into perspective, who is this woman, right? Anyway, if you put his argument into perspective, what he's trying to say is that all of them, like the dictionary, is just some people came together and decided on the usage of a word, right? And they just kept it that way regardless of if everyone else just didn't use the word, right? So when your teacher tells you, oh, go look on a dictionary to determine the meaning of a word, right, what they're really telling you is, oh, I'm going to manipulate you, right, and actually try and get you to just use this usage of a word that nobody will be able to understand. When people you pick words from the dictionary and start using them, right, they're still able to convey their meaning properly, right? But the way for Spencer's argument to be true, we just wouldn't be able to, right? Something completely absurd like that. Now, if Tonwin, for example, right, everyone, or not everyone, most people have a really bad perception of Tonwin, but if Tonwin made an argument like that, everyone would call him an idiot, right? But in the back in the days, right, back in when Spencer was still roaming around and debating, when he said that, everyone was like, damn, Spencer's so good at meta debating. Damn, Spencer's so revolutionary. He should father my kids. Like, bro, he's not saying anything special. He's just being dumb, right? And those were the people who were considered to be high tier twos, right? Then you have Noodles, right? He's also on the list. Noodles is on the list specifically because he said that induction is just not valid, right? You just should never use induction. And his explanation was, oh, well, if you see loads of 5 black people committing crimes in a row, right? Then the next black person that you see, would it be intuitive for you to assume that they'd also probably do a crime? Yes. Yes, it would be. If I'm in a community with loads of other people who are committing crimes, obviously the more intuitive thing would be to not take any chances and also assume that this next person is going to commit a crime, right? Obviously you would, right? Same with if a white person came along, right? Everyone does that. If I see people committing a crime, I'm going to assume the next person I see is going to do the same thing, right? Because most of the time, things like that are regular. We use induction on a day-to-day basis, right? And he's trying to say that only deduction is what should be used. Now, if you asked Noodles, if you put him on the spot, alright, this is a little thought experiment. Put Noodles on the spot, go to his server, ask him to lay out a deductive argument for you. He's not going to be able to, right? And deductive might be the most complicated word that he knows, right? Because he spends his entire life reading up on Naruto, right? And I'm not going to blame him for spending his entire time trying to get good at one specific thing, right? But if you try and branch out and make claims on stuff that you just objectively are not good at, right? Then you're gonna make yourself look like an idiot, right? And I know at least, he's not an idiot for the most part, right? So why would he be saying stuff like that, right? And those are the type of arguments that people actually consider to be good, right? People in the past used to be like, lay out the deductive argument, like trying to say that, oh, all your conclusion has to be necessary for it to be taken as true in a debate, like. And those were the people that were considered to be high tiers. Like, I don't understand how someone can lack this simple cognitive ability and still be considered to be someone who is very good. Georgia, the only reason why he's on the list of frauds is because he lost to the argument that Spencer gave, right? That I just listed out. Well, he didn't really lose, right? But he wasn't beating it down as fast as a tier 2 should have, right? And Noodles is just he's just Noodles, man. Trini is good, right? And then my only issue with him is just that he hypes up people who are stupid, like Error, right? Error thought he could beat Trini. And it's like, if there's such an immense gap in terms of intelligence between the two of you, why would Error even think that? Like, I've seen Error debate on a variety of stuff, and he actually isn't good at anything. He just has immense rhetoric and basic knowledge, right? And he's just screams like, "Don't cut me off! Don't cut me off!" And if you notice in half of Error's debate, right, immediately 5 minutes in, you notice that he started cutting his opponent off, and then he'll be like, "Wait a second, Error, what are you doing?" Perfect example of this would be him best Valor, but not to make this a little Error hate video, right? This game, what the hell? Okay, wait, give me a second. Let me lock in. This is about getting embarrassing. Okay. Anyway, back to peak hating on other debaters' commentary, right? I'm trying to think of another overrated fraud that people in this hold to a really high standard. And actually, off the top of my head, I'm trying to think, yeah, because this is difficult. Is he? Kuros is definitely bad, but I don't think anyone disagrees with that. Um, damn. Damn. This is actually hard. Wait a second. Kuros. Obviously, Kuros is bad. I don't think anyone disagrees with him being bad. Damn. Wait a second. Yeah. I'm gonna find a tier list so I can figure out. Give me a second. Let me recruit one of my many goons to. Okay, wait. No, that's Knees. I don't know why I said that. Yanni. Okay, so my PC's decided not to cooperate with me, but I think we can just move off of the topic of like overrated debaters. It doesn't really interest me that much anymore. Definitely not because I couldn't think of anyone else, right, off the top of my head. But aside from that, something else that the community really, really, really needs to get rid of is people who glaze, right? People who be in chat saying, "Oh, X person is slamming Y person," right? And if you ask them what's actually going on, they won't be able to give you an answer. And the reason why they won't be able to give you an answer is because, one, they're not listening, right? And two, they're an idiot, right? So it's those type of people who they give other people inflated egos, right, and inflated perceptions. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, I'm holier than thou. I don't have an ego." Maybe I do have. No, maybe I do have an ego, right? But at least I can self-reflect and say that some of these guys, right, regardless of their egos, regardless of the amount of aura they are able to give up, they still suck, right? Aura isn't going to be something that you can use as a stand-in for debate skill, right? Wait, let's look at this tier list. Wait, okay, so this sucks, right? Let's break this down, right? Let me put this in my browser, actually. Okay, so how do I put this in my browser? Okay, I don't have technology like that. Let me copy link. I'm not giving you a free advertisement. Paste. Go. Alright. This is gonna be a less than a half. Okay. So let's analyze this. So we have ooh, okay. UG placement, UG dub. So Yuta above Miguel. There's no evidence for this. Miguel swapping with Sukuna better than Yuta can. And also has statements putting him relative to Gojo in terms of physicals. UG being this close to Yuta is fine. Maharaga's too low. Kenjaku beat up Yuta. Geto literally has no reason to be here. Jogo shouldn't be above. Why is Jogo here? Why is Hanami here? Okay. These two shouldn't even be on here. What is Dogon? Wait, what is Dogon even doing here? Right? Did we see what Toji did to this guy? Why is Kus? Okay, bro. We're going to ignore this tier list, right? I hope Anime Villain didn't actually post this. I hope this isn't his actual list, right? But what we need to get rid of is glaces, right? Because they ruin people's perception of who's winning and who's losing debates, right? It will ruin people's perceptions massively, give people egos when they shouldn't have, right? And really, really just like make it unbearable to debate. Like imagine having to talk to somebody and every time you look at the chat, you just see, oh, this guy's getting slammed. And then you're like, oh yeah, what point do you think I'm losing? And they're like, I don't know, fuck you, I'm not listening to the debate. I was like, excuse me, one, no swearing, buckaroo. And two, alright, why are you giving opinions if you're not even going to listen? Like, it doesn't make no sense. It doesn't make any sense at all, right? But that's going to be it from me. That's my daily TED Talk. If you liked the video, please remember to like and subscribe. That's it. Goodbye.